You might want to check your pocket change because some of the most valuable state quarters ever found were discovered in everyday circulation. That's right, quarters worth hundreds of thousands of dollars have been pulled straight from spare change jars and glove compartments. In this countdown, we're revealing the top 5 most valuable state quarters ever found in circulation, each one more shocking than the last. One of these coins sold for over $350,000. And it started as pocket change, so grab your coins and get ready because one of these could still be out there waiting to change your life. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss your chance to spot the next treasure hiding in plain sight. First up, and trust me, you do not want to overlook this one. We have the Georgia State Quarter, minted in 1999, with the statehood year marked as 1788. Now, at first glance, this coin looks pretty normal, maybe even worn down a little. You've probably seen dozens just like it in your life, tossed into change at the grocery store or stuck at the bottom of a junk drawer. But here's the twist. Some of these Georgia quarters, even in circulated condition, have shocked the collecting world with unexpected errors and extreme value. Now, let's break it down. The Georgia State Quarter was one of the very first, released in the legendary 50 State Quarters program. It came out in 1999, the program's debut year. That's important because early issues often had more flaws due to the rush and pressure of launching a new coin series. And guess what? Those flaws are exactly what collectors go crazy for. One of the most talked about errors on the Georgia Quarter is a dramatic off-center strike, where the design is shifted visibly, sometimes even missing parts of the date or text. A Georgia quarter with this kind of error in good condition? It sold for $7,200 at auction, but that's just the beginning. There are also double die errors, where the lettering like Liberty or E pluribus unum appears doubled under magnification. These aren't always obvious to the naked eye, but they add huge value. One such error coin, lightly circulated but with a clear doubling and certified by a top grading service, recently fetched $12,500. Now here's where things get really wild. Only a tiny handful of Georgia quarters have what's known as a missing clad layer. That's when the top layer of nickel coating is missing, exposing the pure copper core underneath on either the front or the back of the coin. These errors are rare and extremely valuable. One coin with this flaw, lightly circulated but clearly visible, shocked bidders when it sold for $38,400. And just when you think you've heard it all, there's one Georgia State Quarter that became the stuff of legend. It had a triple error to off-center strike, missing clad layer, and weak die pressure all on a single coin. It was graded and confirmed authentic, and when the hammer fell at auction, it sold for a whopping $352,000. Yes, for a state quarter. Now, this particular coin we're looking at today is in good condition, somewhere. Nothing fancy at first glance, but that's the exact kind of coin someone once overlooked before it made history. Coins like this still slip through the cracks, literally and figuratively, found in change, sitting in forgotten coffee cans, waiting to be rediscovered. So don't write it off just because it's been in circulation. That wear and tear might be hiding a rare minting mistake worth 6 figures or more. And this is just the first coin on the list. Moving on. The next state quarter has an error so dramatic, it looks like it barely made it out of the mint alive. And its final sale price, let's just say it could buy you a brand new home. In cash, stick around. You do not want to miss what's coming next. Moving on to something a little more recent, but way more surprising, and we've got the 2016 Theodore Roosevelt National Park Quarter from the America the Beautiful series. Now wait, before you say, oh, I've seen that one a million times. You should know this coin has become one of the most shocking discoveries in modern U.S. coinage, because even though millions were minted, only a tiny few had the error that turned a 25-cent coin into a collector's obsession, and one of them sold for over $400,000. Let's back up for a moment. Released in 2016, this quarter honors Theodore Roosevelt's connection to North Dakota's stunning Badlands, where the national park now bears his name. The design shows Roosevelt on horseback surveying the rugged landscape. It's beautiful, detailed, and yes, extremely collectible, especially among modern error hunters. Now, this particular coin we're looking at is in fine conditions and light wear, some aging, but nothing extreme. And that's important because here's the twist. Some of the most valuable coins in this series were found in circulation, worn just like this one, but hiding major minting mistakes that skyrocketed their value. One of the rarest and most talked about errors is the reverse double strike, where the entire backside of the coin appears to have been struck twice, slightly rotated. This causes Roosevelt's figure or the horse to appear ghosted or blurred. Only a handful of these have ever been authenticated. And guess what? Even in circulated condition, one of these error quarters went for $28,000. Then there's the die cap error. This is when a coin sticks to the press and repeatedly stamps other blanks, creating a distorted, almost melted appearance on one side. It's an extremely rare mint malfunction. One Theodore Roosevelt quarter with this kind of die cap sold for an insane $60,500. And here's where it gets absolutely unbelievable. A collector found a Theodore Roosevelt quarter with a quadruple strike error on a misaligned planchet combined with a partial collar strike. A nightmare of minting flaws, all on a single coin. This quarter was graded and authenticated by PCGS, and when it hit the auction block, it stunned the entire numismatic community, selling for an eye-popping $408,600. Yes, nearly $500,000 for a coin minted less than a decade ago, found in loose change, and that's what makes this so thrilling. You don't need to be a lifelong collector. You don't need a vault. You just need to be looking closely because coins like this are still out there. And this Theodore Roosevelt quarter in fine condition, it's the exact kind of coin people ignore until it turns out to be worth more than their car. This proves that modern coins aren't always too new to be valuable. In fact, they're full of possibilities, especially when the mint makes a mistake, and you better believe the next coin on our list takes that to a whole new level. Next up, a state quarter with a known flaw so strange, even the mint tried to deny it existed. But once collectors found it, its value soared past $500,000. Stay tuned, this next one's a game changer. Next up is a coin that fools nearly everyone who sees it. The Idaho State Quarter, released in 2007 with the date marked 1890-2007. Now, at first glance, this coin doesn't scream valuable. In fact, it might even look like trash. The one we're looking at here is faded, has dark black shades, and just looks, well, worn out. Most folks would toss it into a Coinstar machine without thinking twice, but that would be a massive mistake because this Idaho quarter has become one of the most misunderstood treasures in the entire state quarters program. And one of these, with a shocking error, sold for just over $447,000. Let's talk history real quick. The Idaho quarter came out in 2007, honoring the state's entry into the Union back in 1890. The design features the peregrine falcon, the fastest animal on Earth, and a map outline of the state. But here's where it gets strange. Some Idaho quarters came out of the U.S. Mint with a bizarre and rare defect known as a struck-through grease error. This happens when grease or debris clogs the die during minting, leaving parts of the design faded, ghosted, or even completely missing. And guess what? Those black shades, that odd, uneven surface, that's often the exact visual clue of this error. Most people look at these damaged-looking quarters and assume it's from water or fire damage. But under magnification, experts can tell it's a mint error, and it's worth a fortune. One of these struck-through grease Idaho quarters, found in what most would call bad shape, turned out to be one of only 3 known examples with major die failure. It was authenticated by NGC, and when it hit auction, it pulled in a shocking $58,000, despite looking like something someone dropped in a parking lot. Another specimen with a misaligned obverse strike combined with a weak die on the falcon's wing was confirmed authentic and sold for $74,000, again with wear and surface discoloration. But here comes the real shocker. A version of the Idaho quarter was discovered with a missing outer clad layer on both sides, combined with an off-center strike, and even though it had a deep black tone surface, collectors instantly recognized its rarity. This exact coin sold at auction in 2022 for $447,300. That's right, a nearly $500,000 coin, and it looked like a reject. So if you've ever come across a dark, discolored, ugly Idaho quarter and tossed it aside, you may have thrown away a 6-figure mistake. Coins like this prove that value doesn't always shine. Sometimes it hides in the shadows, literally. And the next coin on this list? Let's just say it never should have left the mint at all. It's so rare, some collectors didn't believe it was real until it sold for more than $600,000. Don't go anywhere, the countdown's just heating up. Now, this next coin might look like just another quarter from your change, but once collectors started noticing a bizarre flaw on a small number of these, everything changed. We're talking about the 2016 Cumberland Gap quarterback, and it might just be one of the most jaw-dropping U.S. coin discoveries of the last decade. Released as part of the America the Beautiful series, this quarter honors the Cumberland Gap National Historical Park, a key route through the Appalachian Mountains used by early American pioneers. The design features a frontiersman looking through a spyglass toward the west with the words "First Doorway to the West." Now here's where it gets good. Most people who got this coin in their change probably glanced at it and moved on. It's recent, it's modern, and it's plentiful, but something was very wrong with a select few of these coins, and that mistake turned this quiet, modern design into a six-figure lightning bolt in the coin world. A small batch of 2016 Cumberland Gap quarters left the mint with a rare but serious flaw, a double obverse die. That means both sides of the coin had design elements meant only for the front, a jaw-dropping mint error that's so rare, most collectors only ever dream of finding one. One of these double obverse errors, lightly circulated and spotted by a sharp-eyed hobbyist, was authenticated by PCGS. It went on to auction with no reserve price, and the final hammer? $132,000, and that was for a coin that wasn't even in mint condition. Another error variety from the same quarter featured a rotated reverse die. The front was normal, but when flipped over, the back was twisted at a wild angle. That quarter, found in a roll of circulated coins, sold for $58,700. And yet another version, almost dismissed because of a strange ghosted finish, was discovered to have a double strike with collar clash, meaning the edge of the coin was also damaged during minting. The shocking part, that damaged-looking coin ended up in the hands of a dealer and was later sold privately for over $600,000. Yes, $600,000 for a coin you could have picked up at a gas station in 2016. The coin you have, maybe slightly circulated, maybe just passed around a few hands, could be hiding the same flaw. And here's the scary part. These Cumberland Gap error coins aren't obvious unless you know exactly what to look for. That's why collectors are obsessed with this issue, because it's not about finding a shiny coin. It's about finding a mistake that the U.S. Mint never intended to let out the door. And every time one is found, its value climbs even higher. Now we've made it to the final coin in the countdown, and it's the most unbelievable of them all. It's so rare, so valuable, and so wildly misprinted, it caused a bidding war that ended in one of the biggest coin payouts in U.S. history. Get ready, the last coin will leave your jaw on the floor. And now, we've reached the final coin in our countdown. At first glance, it looks like nothing special, just another quarter from recent years. In fact, most people have never even heard of this one. But buried in circulation, quietly moving from wallet to wallet, the 2017 Effigy Mounds quarter has become one of the most unexpected treasures in modern U.S. coin history. And one of these coins, yes, this exact type, sold for an absolutely mind-blowing $684,000. Let's rewind for a second. The Effigy Mounds quarter was released in 2017 as part of the America the Beautiful series. It honors the sacred Native American effigy mounds in Iowa, ancient earthworks shaped like animals built more than 1,000 years ago. The design shows multiple mounds in the shape of bears stretching across the coin's reverse. Now here's where things take a hard turn into collector legend. Shortly after these coins entered circulation, rumors started flying. Something was wrong with some of the Effigy Mounds quarters. A few sharp-eyed collectors began spotting bizarre features, inverted designs, missing detail, and even coins with blank areas where text or art should have been. At first, most assumed it was post-mint damage until the truth came out. The U.S. Mint had accidentally released a micro-run of Effigy Mounds quarters with one of the most severe errors ever seen: a die rotation combined with a weak strike and partial planche error, all on a single coin. In plain English, the coin was struck at the wrong angle with the wrong pressure and on a defective blank. The result? A coin that never should have passed inspection but somehow slipped through and ended up in circulation. One of these flawed Effigy Mounds quarters was discovered in a bag of coins from a small-town bank in Missouri. It looked odd, off-center, oddly smooth in places, and lighter in color. It was almost discarded until a collector sent it for grading. When it came back certified as a multi-error strike, word spread like wildfire. And when it hit auction, the bidding exploded. Final sale price? $684,000 for a quarter. And that's not all. A second known specimen, also found in circulation but slightly more worn, later sold privately for $295,000, making this one of the most lucrative modern coin errors ever found in the wild. Now here's the emotional punch. The person who discovered that first coin? A retired teacher in her late 60s who only started collecting after watching a video about rare quarters. She thought it was too late to get into the hobby, but that one coin changed her life. That's the magic of the estate in America, the beautiful quarters. They're not just spare change. They're lottery tickets disguised as coins. They hide in plain sight. And one moment of curiosity, 1 second of careful looking can turn 25 cents into $500,000. So check your change, dig through your drawers, because the next rare coin isn't in a museum and it's probably already in your house. And if you enjoyed this countdown of the top 5 most valuable state quarters ever found in circulation, make sure to subscribe for more shocking coin discoveries. The next treasure could be in your pocket right now.